Now, since the recording is in progress, I need to share with you some little parts where we are going to start off. So I'm going to go right at the back. So if there is any student who may perhaps be missing out any details, so surely would be able to understand which topic is this and how we're going to go. So I'm going to go right over here and we're going to play this. Okay, so the lesson is titled as Shorter Writing and Reflective Commentary, Section A, Paper 2. So the first thing is we are going to be writing something different today. And for this, you will be involved into, let's say, 15 minutes of the task as well. I will be giving you some cues. It should be different and it should be unique. So imagine you sitting over there across the laptop, having a cup of tea and your pen and your paper. It happens to be a notebook or any other stuff, as in like book reading. So the titles in hashtags say something else. For example, I wrote about cyberbullying a decade ago, and now rise above cyberbullying. So I'm just trying to tell you that whatever you write, either it's narrative, descriptive, or non-fiction, it should be written with some sort of conviction. I should be able to understand you, how you're going to go about it. Okay? It should come from the heart. We are polishing ourselves to turn out to be one of the strongest writers. Okay? So let's just start off. I'm going to show you a cue card, and this is a guess game. Guess the theme. Basically, you think any you think anything which becomes extraordinary, it has to deal with monster, vampires, supernatural creatures, yes or no? Do you think that any story where you need to add suspense, where you need to add uncertainty, you need to have a ghostly impression?
Yes, miss.
Okay, why? Why do we need to have some sort of ghostly impression when I need to sound a bit mysterious and suspenseful?
Miss, it gives off suspense, and it creates a scary atmosphere and an unpleasant.
While unpleasant atmosphere that is being developed. However, the scary theme that you recognize, we are not going to write about it. Yes, there could be life threatening. Please watch out. Shumeta, Shiza, and I have with me Aisha. Do I have anyone else? Yes, I do have Mariam Fatma with me. And so I'm gonna just recap. This is a cue card beta that I'm showing. And I'm saying that whenever you need to add some sort of suspense or uncertainty, is it always a custom, a tradition to have a supernatural creature or some ghostly impression? Mariam, what do you have to say about that? Yes, it does. It does require. Aisha says yes. It makes the atmosphere quite scary.
Because personally, I don't think that's necessary for the story to have a ghostly impression or supernatural creature, because I've read a lot of novels in which there is it has a suspenseful story, but it does not have any supernatural creature or anything like that.
Exactly in the same way, we are going to change and shift our perspective, and we're going to say we're going to create an element of uncertainty and suspense or mystery or darkness without having to do with any kind of a spirit or ghost or cemetery or vampires or werewolves. No. English language at AS level exam, it is considered to be cliched. Too much written on this theme and this content that it makes it too cliched, boring, and monotonous. Indeed, our second cue card, what do you see in the picture? How would you describe this picture? Can you give me one line? I know it's a shark underwater, but what impression are you given? What? These jaws, pointed, edgy, sharp, and monstrous, evil looking mouth glaring at me. What is it trying to do? Can you describe me a bit? It's some sort of attack. You're thinking, it's good when my students are thinking. Please make sure that in your notebook, you should be writing up bullet points. Okay? Today's theme is going to be a struggle of hope where the person is trying to um, let's see whether he's able to survive or not. Perhaps she, we never know. But it's definitely to do with this big fish. With this big fish, yes. So, I'm for the first time, this is our second week of the lessons, and for the first time, I'm bringing you the exam style question. All right, this exam style question, it comes under section A. I repeat, I don't know whether I'll be able to write on it. Yeah, I can, thank God. Section A, and this is the most important thing to understand over here is that it carries 15 marks and it has 400 words, and this is part A. Okay, so we're going to read from here till here. And for this, I would request Mariam Fatma to read the slide.
Write a piece of narrative or descriptive that focuses on an odd or threatening situation experienced whilst traveling on holiday. In your writing, you should aim to build a sense of tension and uncertainty. Your piece will be included in a book called Traveler's Tales. You should write no more than 400 words.
Hmm. So what is the book basically? It's a collection of short stories or a book. It could be narrative, it could be descriptive. As my first exam style question, I didn't want to be pressing upon my students, okay, you are definitely going to write down a descriptive piece. No, I'm giving you options. There are choice. There is a choice, narrative or descriptive, but it has to focus on odd. Or odd means some weird, some unusual or threatening, life-threatening situation experienced whilst traveling on holiday. While I was traveling on holiday. In your writing, your grade is going to be decided. Your grade is awarded, decided on the basis of these two elements, whether there is tension and whether there is uncertainty or not. And your piece, your composition should not be more than 400 words. So this means I don't need to be over ambitious. I don't need to just pour in so many characters or to tell so many twists and turns and this happened and that happened. You can't do that. You need to be very wisely dealing with a shorter piece. This is really good. Aisha Mim, Shiza, Mariam Fatma. This is really good because you're switching from O levels to A levels. O levels teaches you to basically write in between 350 to 500 words. And this is asking you to limit yourself to 400. So this is let's say a benefit. Let's have a look at what the next slide has for us. Before we jump into the writing process, the greatest of the novels which get published, and you never know, your novel can get published, your book can be published, inshallah. No, you never know. So you have to shape your writing, and this is the process. You cannot be afraid of writing. There is one thing which is going to be your best friend at the end of the day, and that is the dustbin. You just, you don't like the idea, you tear it out and you just throw it in the dustbin. Then again, so we're going to find out, you need to think more exactly about how you want to appeal to your reader. Even if someone says there are Martian on your doorstep, you should be reading on. Remember that 400 words is not very many. So you should not aim to be too ambitious. You have to write the whole piece. So you do not want too many characters or a complex plot. For complex plot means there is a main plot and there is a subplot. Subplot has 3 characters, or let's say 5 flat characters. Main plot has 2 characters. Don't do that. Don't. Okay? So it's not going to work out, because you will be given 15 marks on the basis of your 400 word composition. Over here, you have any question, please ask me, because I have sample responses, examiners' comments, my comments on it. How do we need to go about it? This is for the first time we are conducting shorter writing class. Okay? So you have any questions here? All set? All clear? Please write in the chat box. So far, have you understood? Have you understood?
Yes, miss.
Okay, thank you. Yes, so I can see yes, thank you. Okay, here we go. Write your response to question number 1A. You don't have to write it down. This is your assignment. This is the first marked assignment that I'm going to give you. Okay, write your response to question number 1A. Here are some questions that might help. A lot of people say, this is the title, this is the question, now you write. It's upon your creativity. There should be a twist, there should be climax. The child knows about it. Give me something new, which has to do with my upgrading, that has to do with my structuring. Would you like suspense? What exactly is going to be your structure or form? This means, are you going to begin in the past tense and then switch towards the present tense? Okay. Are you going to start with a dialogue, or are you going to start with a shocking statement? There is a resource kit that I've already shared with you in the last class. Mariam, you don't need to worry about it, because it has 8 different ways, along with the samples, how you can begin and structure your creative writing. So the structure is basically my shape of the text. Make bullet points. Shape of the text. Do we have long paragraphs, longer paragraphs, or do we have shorter paragraphs? Or do we have shorter paragraphs? In a suspenseful writing, when there is uncertainty that I need to achieve, I need to make sure that my paragraphs happen to be shorter. Because what will it do? It shows, beta, it shows the rapidity of the actions. You know, there are small scenes where you can simply just catch up. And you know, when people are scared, they can't be, standing at one position and just talking about the whole thing. Please have some movement in your writing. When you're launching the character in a story, you need to make him or her move in the slightest manner, or the mild way, or let's say the fast way, but there has to be some movement, and that is allowed by the longer paragraphs or the shorter paragraphs. Do you want a little or lots of description? That is all up to you. Little or lots of description. Will you need a dramatic situation? I stop here. Can anyone tell me the answer to bullet point 2? Aisha beta, do you think that you would require lot of description or narration? What do you think, beta? We
Miss,
do
if
require description.
Miss, if we are going to create an atmosphere of like awe or suspense, I think we would need a lot of description.
True. So, Mariam, will you need a dramatic situation? Because the examiner has asked you to create an odd or threatening.
Yes, miss. I'll require mathematics.
We require dramatic situation. What sort of language should you use? In language, we display metaphor, simile, action verbs. You will certainly need to create an atmosphere through what you write. Atmosphere is the setting. Maryam, Aisha, Mim, and Shiza, you are creating up a world. There is a world of your writing. The reader has to be landed into this world that is introduced by your setting. Even a bit of the detail from the cobweb, or perhaps the sound of the footsteps, everything, the wooden floor, whatever you're writing, it's gonna create this magic, this fantasy which never existed. So your language is going to be creating effects. The atmosphere is basically the setting, the location. It can be my room, it can be the shore, it can be some far away island or beach. So it depends. Read a student's response A, then give a mark to your own writing. Refer to the assessment guiding grid. I'm about to show you the student's response to the question. Are we clear about the question? We need to create uncertainty and suspense and a situation which has been threatening. Please notice, as your first writing class, I have not given you a very complex type of a question, but something that can actually push you, but still is your exam question. So, okay, Shiza, can we hear you? Beta Shiza, are you there? Um, Shiza, are you there? No, Shemeta, Motasam. I need to mark your attendance. Now, there are a number of students who have joined us. Okay, Motasam beta, we are doing, this is paper 2. I don't think so. Your mic is working. Please do let me know. Shemeta, I would request you to please read the student's response and look through that eye as how this person is writing. Student's response, say, to an odd, or let's say threatening situation which is created. Okay?
Okay. I was taking a breather, resting on my surfboard. There I was, head over the edge, looking down. You cannot imagine how crystal clear the water was. It was amazing. I looked around for shells hidden in the sand on the seabed. Some brightly colored fish swam beneath me. I felt completely relaxed. As I lay there, I wondered if I could simply reach out and touch the bottom. Water like this always looks shallower than it really is. The next thing I knew was a man shouting, "Shark!" I turned around to face a black fin rising up out of the water and in my direction.
Is there suspense? Is there suspense? A bit, a less, or you say, no, teacher, there is suspense. Please, there is suspense because the words are speaking quite loudly when it comes to the exclamatory mark, but there is something missing. Do you think it holds the spark, or you think, oh no, this turns out to be, this student's response seems to be a mediocre one? It has a lot of repetition. We don't have a lot of, do we have a lot of description? It has a lot of description, yes or no?
Yes, miss.
It has a description. Okay. Shmeta, your impression upon this writing. Do you think it's good one? Do you think it's like O-level writing?
I guess the plot story is a bit simple because a shark just couldn't itself create a mysterious atmosphere for the reader, I guess. This is what I think it.
The reader. And it's too obvious for me to understand that, the man shouting shark. I think it's too early for me open up that Pandora box, when I'm creating up some suspense. So Motasam Beta, Maryam Fatma, this kinds of a shaky. This response. Let me do we have another slide? Yeah. My first reaction, this is the same continuation. I would ask do we have Motasam, can you use your mic, Beta? Would you be able to use your mic? Can you read the slide for us? Over to you, Mariam. Over to you, Mariam. It's fine, beta. Over to you.
My first
Okay.
reaction was to take my arms and legs out of the water. The next thing I know, a sleek, black, 12-foot shadow is gliding beneath me. Its evil looking mouth was surrounded with spikes. It is what I understand to be a tiger shark. If I thought I was short on adrenaline, it soon came back, pumping full force through my veins. I could hear my heart pumping, and I had never appreciated the wondrous gift of life so much. The fear of death had suddenly become something very tangible. Well, I guess, I made it back. I lived to tell the tale. I guess people kind of exaggerate stories like these. But it was 12 foot long. I swear on my life.
I swear on my life, as if the reader is unable to believe you. What are you talking about? So, Mariam, your impression about this style of writing? I mean, the first paragraph and the second paragraph, how would you rate this candidate? Make a guess. It carries beta 15 marks. How would you think that if there is uncertainty, there is suspense? Is it threatening? The threatening part is definitely there. But when it comes to the language, how much do you think you will give? Everyone, from Motasam to Shumeta, everyone write it down in your chat box. Mariam, you tell me out loud verbally, make a guess. How many marks, to be very honest, you are going to give this candidate? I will tell you how you need to look at your quality of writing then.
Uh, 10, 11?
Bullseye. Yes, exactly. This is given 10. How come you can be so sure about it? Your guess game worked brilliantly. What about my other students? Do you all agree with her? But because this response had been given 10 marks, I tell you why. I tell you why. 10 marks. The student aims to create a sense of atmosphere, true. The style and vocabulary are mostly suited to the task, yes. Though the use of exclamation marks tends to shout out at the reader, right? All of them are going great. The language needs to do more of the work of creating the sense of tension. The end of the piece, especially the last paragraph, does not add anything to the effect of the earlier writing and is a bit disappointing because you are deliberately telling me there is a shark, I swear on my life. And I was like, you are telling me, you're not showing me. However, the response is clear and relevant, so it is worth 10 marks. So you must be wondering now, what is going to be the excellent way of looking at my writing? How should I be the student star? By the way, this is not a sad smile. This happens to be the nose. And this is the smile that you can look at. So Shumeta, Maryam Fatma would actually need Miss Nadia's like, okay, you need some excellent responses. So I'm going to show you. What do you expect in the excellent response? Before I show you the excellent one, what do you expect? It should have this or that. Please tell me. There is no right or wrong idea, beta. You have to just open up. These are language classes. We need to connect and interact.
This may
Make
be a proper way of describing the situation.
maybe a proper way of describing the situation. Let me show you how we can actually describe it. In 35 feet of water, the great fish swam slowly, its tail waving just enough to maintain motion. It saw nothing, for the water was murky with motes of vegetation. The fish had been moving parallel to the shoreline, back and forth, back and forth. Now it turned, banking slightly, and followed the bottom gradually upward. The fish perceived more light in the water, but still it saw nothing. The boy was resting. I'm going to stop here. Then one of the other participant in my class is going to read and we're going to look at. The boy was resting, his arms dangling down, his feet and ankles dipping in and out of water. With each small swell, his head was turned towards shore, and he noticed that he had been carried out beyond what his mother would consider safe. Over to you, Shumeta. No, Aisha Meme has not been given a chance. Aisha Meme. He could see her lying on her towel.
He could see her lying on her towel and the man and child playing in the wave wash. He was not afraid, for the water was calm and he wasn't really far from shore, only 40 yards or so.
But he wanted to get closer, otherwise his mother might sit up, spy him, and order him out of the water. He eased himself back a little bit so he could use his feet to help propel himself. He began to kick and paddle towards shore. His arms displaced water almost silently, but his kicking feet made erratic splashes and left swirls of bubbles in his wake. Uncertainty just ahead. We are developing, we are divulging into some bit of suspense. When you're biting your nails and you're saying, watch out, it's a slow and gradual development. It's a steady, but it definitely shows the progress um, in the composition. It does show. I need to be creating this element so that the examiner knows that I am hooking my reader. I want to give them something, whether this boy is going to be alive or is he going to die? What? The fish did not hear the sound. And please notice this is used for shark, right? Because earlier we called it a big fish. So when you are using not shark, but you're saying big fish, fish, this is called euphemism. Euphemism. For example, when someone dies, let's suppose my father has passed away. So nobody says, oh, he or she is dead. That considers to be rude. But then we say passed away, more politer way, a politer version to say, passed away, no more in the world. Just remember. So it's kind of like big fish. For example, for pay your taxes, for taxes, you say, oh, that's a consumer charges. This is called euphemism. Someone who is fat, and you say, so you tell me, what do you say? Your bestie um, is looking a bit fat today. So what do you say? You say, oh, you look, a bit chubby today. I think you're having a quite good meal. I think you're happy. Or is everything okay with you? Can I help? Like when someone is fat, we rather replace it with chubby, and oh, you look healthy, like in our Pakistani context. Trying to avoid this. This is called euphemism. Okay, euphemism. It's kind of that an expression where you want to say where you have seen a bald person, but you are not saying bald. So it's kind of like a different way to express your feeling. So this adds up to more dramatic situation, because I keep on thinking, okay, that must be a monstrous looking fish. The fish did not hear the sound, but rather registered the sharp and jerky impulses emitted by the kick. They were signals, faint but true, and the fish locked on them, homing. It rose slowly at drifts, and then gaining speed as the signals grew stronger. The body stopped for a moment to rest. The signal seed. So we are looking, the language is creating an effect of a predator and its prey. This is amazing. Predator versus prey. The fish slowed, turning its head from side to side, trying to recover them. The boy lay perfectly still, and the fish passed beneath him, skimming the sandy bottom. Again it turned. It turned again towards the direction of the boy. So, Yeah, this is the end. You can look at it. I need to stop sharing the screen over here so that I can ask and take your responses. So what do you feel? What do you feel about the idea, about the writing which you have just read? This is called shorter writing. I'm coming back to the topic. Shorter writing carries 400 words. Can you just tell me, was the last part a bit more interesting? Did it, um, do you think it has description in it? Yes or no? Very quickly.
Yes, Miss.
Yes. Mariam Fatma, any comment on this one? Any comment, Beta? I'm about to share another slide with you so that I can give you a bit more technical version of your exam style questions.
I
Please
really
give me your,
appreciate the way
yeah.
the student first gave the story from the fish side, and then she gave it from the boy side. It was very interesting. Yeah. Good.
So you really like the idea, like the point of view. The point of view really like. Shumeta, would you please tell us your idea? Like what kind of an impression did you get by the last? What good thing or some area to improve or
Miss, as I said, the plot was kind of weak for me, but
hmm,
still the descriptions, they were pretty much enough to, overcome that thing.
hmm.
Usually,
So
remarkable
yeah,
description.
because the plot I never shared. The problem was that because I could not have a complete story in it, it could have been so long. So I omitted some parts here and there. But when you read the complete sample, I wanted to give you a bit of an idea how language is working. Language needs to do the work. You should not say, okay, I'm telling you a joke, laugh. You can't do that. I'm giving you an idea that you should not tell that I'm going to tell you a threatening story, but you show how the threatening picture is going to be created in front of the readers. Um, because it's 9:40 and I'm remaining with 20 minutes more, so I want to share with you a, a different style of paper 2. Paper 2 is my writing paper, section A, question number 1A. Another way to look at your exam style question, which carries 15 marks. Okay, so I would request, Shameta has read, Mariam, I would ask you to please read the slide.
You are a journalist. You have been asked by a newspaper to cover a local dispute between a woman called Brenda Smith and her city council. These are the facts. She has a big car that sticks out from her driveway onto the sidewalk. The council has decided to stop her doing this by giving her a $100 parking ticket, even though her car was parked in her own drive at that time. She has small children. She feels both cross and amused about the fine. The council feels it has to make a stand to protect people who want to use the sidewalk. Write an article of no more than 400 words to report all of this to local readers.
So basically, you are a journalist. You are a journalist. This is another style of a question. And why am I giving you all these different variations to it? Because of the fact that um, there are different styles of topics, text type that you will be studying, and it is preparing you to ultimately become a journalist yourself, or perhaps an editor, or perhaps launching up your own book, perhaps teaching and do whatever you want to do, media sciences. It is connecting with so much of the stuff, and the best part is it gives you a bit of direction, and then your own boss. So you are a journalist over here, and you've been asked by a newspaper to cover a local dispute. So there is a conflict between a woman, Brenda Smith, and her city council. So the city council says, okay lady, you've got a big car and it's kind of sticking out on the driveway, like onto the sidewalk. So people who are walking on the sidewalk, they're not using it because your car has taken that entire space. They are using the road. It's dangerous for them. All right. When you're a journalist, you can't take any one side. You can't take Brenda Smith's side. You can't take the city council. You have to write from both the perspectives so that things are in the most unbiased way, factually are being communicated. Okay, so the council has decided to stop her doing this by giving her a like $100 parking ticket. She's not happy with it. She has a small children. She's angry, and at the same time, she's laughing at this issue. Why? What are you doing? So let's find out what is it going to look like. First of all, step one, you need to break down the task. You have facts to include, but you also need to think about what is my aim. So as a journalist, what is your aim? To do what? To create awareness amongst the locals, amongst the people, to bring you information. The purpose of a journalist by reporting such a scenario, such a situation, is to create an awareness and to think about which is an ethical way, which is the right way to do the stuff. So audience who will read the piece, do we have wider audience or do we have narrow audience? It's printed in the local newspaper. So who reads the newspaper? Wider audiences or narrow specific audiences? You tell me. I'm waiting. You tell me. Purpose, what is my purpose? Audience, who will read the piece? So newspaper, who is going to read this piece? Not exactly one person, but you can always label it. You can always label it with narrow or with make a web over here. So I need to get back. Yeah. Who will read the piece? This will be read by wider audiences. Form. What do I know about the features of a newspaper article? Only useful, like it needs to be, most of the newspaper articles are absolutely biased, but in this case we are trying to be taking a neutral position, just reporting, not exaggerating, giving factual details. What style and language, what sort of sentences structure, language will I need to adopt? This I has to be uppercase letter. It's a typo step, don't worry about it. So the point that we are making over here is my style needs to be based upon shorter paragraphs. All right. Number two, my language has to be well informed, sophisticated, because I am a journalist. I need to be a polished professional writer. So I need to take up the little persona of the journalist. Let's find out, is there any question over here? Whenever you're writing, you always think, what is the purpose? Who is my audience? Is it going to be wider audience? There are more people, specifically lady drivers, who face such issues. Yes, it should not sound like women empowerment. Okay, the lady has, kids and she's suffering. No, and we are going to conduct a Me Too movement. No, we're not going to do that. Then we have form, like features. I haven't taught you. I will be telling you briefly. Then you have a style, language, which is basically shorter paragraphs, and some bullet points if you need to add. Your list might look something like the following. Purpose: to present a balanced view between the council and the lady, Brenda Smith, to represent the views of the various parties involved. Audience, local people seeking information, reading quite quickly and casually, because people would not have as such concerns. They were just reading it casually, like surface level, because it's not shocking as such, and sometimes it doesn't connect with the reader at times. Form means genre concentration. I need to have a headline, subheadings for easy reading so that people could actually stop. When it's a newspaper article, people need to stop on the basis of headlines. Subheading is always let's say it's always optional. Then you have clear and straightforward. So I mean language. So needs to use you need to use quite simple structure language. That's what I'm saying. Simple vocabulary, simple um, paragraphing. The concept is clear, yes or no? Do you understand the purpose, audience, and the form? The form is my shape of the text. Do you understand what should be my purpose? We are not writing this right now. I'm just asking whether this is clear or not.
Yeah, miss, it's clear.
Thank you. Shumeta acknowledge. Mariam Bita. Okay. Mariam has written. Okay. Motasam, can you please write in the chat box, Bita? Is the concept clear to you? As a journalist, what should be my purpose? What should be, who should be my audience? And what I should be taking care of? Okay, thank you. Thank you for acknowledgement. I really appreciate. Style and language. Clarity and simplicity are important because local people are reading, not Einstein or Elon Musk is not my reader. Sensible, because you know what happens when people think of AS English language, they say, oh, this would be like very difficult vocabulary and I need to be constantly keeping on the dictionary. No, for AS English language, the the perfect ingredient for a perfect recipe is to read some interesting columns from the newspaper. Sunday's Dawn newspaper is it's life saving. If you really want to enjoy images section, it could be you know, the editorial section. Oh god, how can we forget editorial section? In my classes, students in a week twice they carry the newspaper. If they don't bring, then I ask them to bring it. It's not like politics, what is going around and who is like being a hypocrite and all sent to jail. No, it's something to do with reading about issues, gender inequality, racism, you know, how, you know, the differences in the pay structure, the salary structure of a woman and a man, um, the revolution of our social, the social revolution that we are a part of, the social platform that we use. All right. So sensible to use both reported and direct speech. Because you're a journalist, you might have visited, you have to, not might, you have to visit these people and then you have to connect. You have to ask them, okay, what was the problem? And then you need to quote their words in inverted commas or close, otherwise you're going to report it. Report means simply narrate them to give a sense of immediacy, you know, as in like this was action, this was um, dramatic, this was an intense situation. Restricted use of non-literal language. I couldn't, I felt sympathetic towards her. I found her pitiful, like she was standing there, a petite looking character. You can't do this. It is a factual report. Just be straight and give some informational content. Short paragraphs, easier to read. So we can say readers friendly. They are to be readers friendly. The students' notes are concerned with the strategies rather than the content. First of all, think about the strategy. Now, model answer with examiner's comments, I will be providing you definitely in the next class. So, um, over here, I always take my last 10 minutes. I'm developing, this is, by the way, a very good way to develop your slides. You're looking at it, this says it is canva.com. I think Mariam Fatma uses it, if I'm not wrong, isn't it?
Yes,
So
miss.
I love it. I do tell my students to create your presentations on it. And I would just like to show you there are, why? Because, you know, at times with creative writing, you need to develop some sort of, these are my designs, your designs, like, you know, unscripted conversation and my A2, this is my A2, this is my literature. And, you know, some, yeah, I do. Um, connect with all of these designs and all of that. But this is a very good app if you really want to use it. um, have something interesting. I mean, digital world has been revolutionized. Why to stick to only PPTs? I'm not against PPTs, I really love them, but I think this is a variation. Anyways, so any questions over here, please ask me. Do you understand the topic? This is paper 2. I find it to be interactive with you. I really enjoy teaching it. Your comments, please. I need some feedback. Did you understand today's lesson? Shumeta. Shumeta, please. Yeah,
Yes,
you,
Miss,
yeah.
it was
So
clearly understood. I wanted to ask one question. What does non-literal language mean?
non-literal means, for example, when you're using story like details, when you're constantly, because you're a journalist, you're supposed to be reporting something that happened as it is, and you're not changing anything in it. But when we write up, because reporting or narrating, some students mix it with narrative writing. I went to visit her today, and she stood up in the corner of the street with her 4 kids, and the look on her face, this is the way which is hindering my reporting. You can't be really personal and don't give that insightful story like details. That needs to be avoided. I'm going to show you the sample. Don't worry about it. For everything, Miss Nadia has examiner's comments and sample response, and then my previous student's sample response. Show the assignment one more time, please. I am sharing both of the presentations on your WhatsApp group right now, so don't worry about it. The assignment is about, this is my first assignment. Yeah, you're right. Um, it is that you will be, can you look at the screen? Write a piece of narrative or descriptive, the choice is yours, that focuses on an odd or threatening situation experienced whilst traveling on holiday. So whilst you were traveling, I mean, you were resting at the shore, you were taking some time, it was your holiday destination, perhaps you were not aware of there were sharks in the sea out there. So in your writing you should aim, but this was your vacation phase writing, you should aim to build a sense of tension and uncertainty. For every task, beta, you are given 2 days. From now onwards, the task will be submitted by Wednesday. So you have ample time to think and write your composition. Okay, this task is going to be uploaded on the Google Classroom, so don't worry about it. Yeah, thank you. Thank you all. Fatma, is there anything you would like to share? I tried my best to make it as relatable because you're having a transition from O levels to AS level. So that's it for today. Thank you very much. The class is over. I will see you inshallah tomorrow. Take care.